Hey guys, Dave here, and with me as always Sam and Savvy, and we are here to talk about Lost in the Neverwood, our first video of Summer Reading 2021. Notice something different? We're all in the same room, we're all at the same table, and we're not wearing masks, which you can do too
Hollywood Squares anymore.
if you get vaccinated. So,
yes, please.
What do we think about the book?
So this is going to be the first time that I've actually not finished this book yet, but it's so good. That's okay. So I really like it because, of course, this is a retelling of Peter Pan, and it takes place in like today's day and age. You know, they have cell phones and everything, but it's told from the point of view of Wendy, and she is dealing with a series of kidnappings in her small town. And this mysterious boy shows up out of the woods who she somehow recognizes from a faint dream from long ago. And he knows exactly who she is because, of course, she's Wendy Darling. But she cannot seem to remember Peter Pan. She remembers him because she was in Neverland once, but she doesn't have those memories anymore. They're like locked away deep in her brain.
Yeah.
Trauma.
Yeah, lots of trauma happening because for Wendy, she escaped Neverland, but her brothers did not.
Oh no, Michael and
Can't remember.
John and Michael.
John and
They did
Are
not.
they John and Michael?
Let me double check, but it is the same names as the original.
And she's Wendy Moore Angela Darling.
Yes, she is. That is her full name in this book too. So her brothers have also been missing children for a very long time. So her and her brothers, when they were younger, disappeared. And she's the only one that showed back up in the woods, holding nothing but an acorn.
Oh.
So her brothers are still missing. It's been, I think, about 15 years or something, and suddenly children in the town start disappearing again. And everyone starts looking at her because she's not necessarily a suspect, but she's the only one that's ever come back from this.
Wow. So it's got a dark.
This is
Edgy.
very,
Yeah, it's very edgy.
dark Peter Pan. This is definitely, it has a lot of the same tropes as the original Peter Pan does. His shadow seems to escape him and seems to wreak havoc on this town.
So it's not Hook.
No, not at least to the point where I am in this book, which I'm nearly done with it. There is a detective with the last name of James, and I've been eyeing him as a suspect a little bit, but spoilers, Peter's shadow is loose in the town and looks a lot like him, only darker. He is the Shadow Peter, wreaking havoc, stealing children.
That's real creepy.
So
Yeah, I mean, it takes you think about the original story, and the best part about the whole thing was that you could fly, you could grow, and you would never have to grow up, and you were stuck in this cool world, and they were pirates, and you were always fighting, and this is to put an unsolved mysteries kind of spin on it. I don't know if I like it.
It's good. I do like it. I wasn't sure if I was going to like it either because I hate retellings because I think they're always overdone. But reading this, I couldn't even really tell that I was reading a retelling half the time. It's really its own story. While it nods to the original a whole bunch when she introduces him around town, he is her cousin Barry, like J.M. Barry, the original author of Peter Pan, and stuff like that. So there's a lot of original nods, which is what I think Detective James is, because of course he's not Detective James Hook or anything. He's just Detective James.
Right.
So there's a lot of original nods without it being cheesy and overdone, and it really feels like its own version of this story.
Yeah, it's even got, I like the weird, like, false memory or not quite sure. I'm anxious to find out how it ends. It seems like it has that sort of spiral, Dark Tower feeling to it.
Yeah, she'll
Stephen
go
King's
to,
Dark Tower series. Read it. It's not YA. Read it.
but it's good.
I like it.
She like goes to sleep at night, and every once in a while a dream will come back to her that she's had before, and she starts to realize that they're memories, and she can't control what she does in these dreams because they're just memories. But that's the only place that she can see her brothers ever again, is in her dreams.
Wow.
So
The original Peter Pan story is kind of haunted in itself too, isn't it? So if you take away all the fun fantasy of the We Can Fly, what you have left is kind of a wanting to be young forever, still to childhood kind of situation that could be kind of spooky.
Right.
So that's just taking that at its heart.
And there's also the fun industrial history lesson where little kids, not long before those stories came out, had to go to work. Had to go to work at the treadmill or whatever, or in the factories because their parents, didn't have any money. So the kids worked too until they came along with child labor laws. And so lots of children died in the mill, and nothing became of it because they just, they fell into a pit or whatever. So I mean, that's an aspect of it too. The Lost Boys is,
We didn't know what childhood was for a real long time,
That's right.
or appreciate it for what it was.
Yeah.
I mean, Peter Pan is based on J.M. Barrie's brother, who died in an ice skating accident when he was like 14.
Wow.
Therefore,
I didn't know that.
his mother is always referring to this brother that died as I forget exactly what she called it, but, the lost boy that never got to grow up. Therefore, J.M. Barrie got part of his inspiration from that. So, it really does have that, like, literal lost child.
Feel about it.
Yeah.
Very
all the time.
melancholic, but really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And apparently so interesting that this is the age of Peter Pan retellings. Sam, you sent me this article that's from February of 2021, and it's the year of Peter Pan retellings from Stacked, which is a blog, right?
A really
It's
interesting blog.
really awesome blog. And she, or he, I don't know who runs it, Kelly, it says written by Kelly, went through and kind of picked out, I can link this in the description down below.
And will.
Yes. But it's basically, she wrote like a little article about like, the fact that we're seeing an upsurgence of all these retellings of classic fairy tales, but there seems to be a big resurgence of Peter Pan retellings coming out even just this year. And this book is mentioned in this article, but she has just a giant list of all these books that are just Peter Pan retellings.
Are all these YA books?
I'm
Is
pretty
it a
sure
YA
these
resurgence?
are, yeah. These all, I'm pretty sure that's what this.
Yeah, Tiger
Yeah.
Lily.
Tiger Lily.
Yeah, and Unhooked. It's a trend in YA books too, and is it with children's books as well, where one book does really well, and then all of a sudden
They
everybody's
kind of jump on it.
on the bandwagon. It happened with
Yeah.
Hunger Games.
Yeah.
It happened with Harry Potter.
Dystopia and then on you.
Yeah,
And there's
all that.
even the adult versions of them, which you have the Christina Henry books. She wrote Lost Boy, the true story of Captain Hook. And she did one of Little Red Riding Hood. I think she did The Mermaid, which is the retelling of The Little Mermaid, but it's a lot darker.
It's not set
Much like these.
under the sea.
I don't know. I have not read it. I wanted to read this one for a long time, this Lost Boy one. But then
Under the sea.
You almost sang. You did it. You did it.
And
We're
then-
cutting that part out.
Yeah, sure. I'm seeing it everywhere, even in this magazine. There's Wendy Darling by A.C. Wise coming out soon, and I think this one's an adult version, but it's all over the place right now. Peter Pan's popular.
Maybe there's a resurgence in finding comfort in stories that we know so well and are returning to, but having little twists to them so that we're not rereading the same thing over and over again, but
Yeah.
and just wanting to come home to a story that we know so well.
That's an interesting point. I didn't think
Yeah.
about that too. I do a lot of rereading. I've got annual things that I read over and over again, and I feel a great deal of comfort from those books because it's like, oh, I love this, and I can't wait until September because Lord of the Rings all over again. But I also wonder too if there's a psychological aspect to it. The whole Peter Pan as an archetype. Where you think about lost childhood, but what you hear about so often these days is young people have huge college loans that they've got to pay off, or they're expected to
real.
fit into a very specific Hook. The movie Hook had that, where
Oh, I love it. I
father was
literally
like
watched that.
overly into at work and not having a work-life separation and having forgotten that he was Peter Pan, and the kid just wanted him to be a regular fun dad. There's that too. Pandemic, people have lost their graduations and their proms and all of that. And I wonder if there's also a feeling of kind of a lost adolescence, and they just want to go back and be kids again. It was a simpler time. It could be that as well. I could be overthinking it.
Well, I actually rewatched Hook right in the middle of reading this, and of course, it's 2.5 hours of Robin Williams. I cried the whole time because I love him so much, and it's you know, there's a lot of, even just that movie being an offshoot of Peter Pan, there are nods from this book to that movie.
Really?
Yeah, so I think Aiden Thomas, which I did not say who this was by the way, Lost in the Neverwoods by Aiden Thomas, he did an amazing job doing all of that, you know, not making it too cheesy or overdone or, oh my god, we get it, it's Peter Pan, but also, you know, throwing in those little things that other people might not catch, like Barry being his pseudonym. So, really cool.
So we highly recommend Lost in the Neverwoods.
Are we doing Boba Fett still?
Boba Fett's?
Yes, of course we're doing Boba Fett.
Well, I have not finished it yet, but based on where I am right now, I'm giving this one 5 Boba Fett's.
5 Boba Fetts, as
Yeah.
many as you can get. Awesome.
Awesome.
Very good.
Some of the next books that we're going to talk about is Tigers Not Daughters by Samantha
Awesome.
Mabry. Still need to figure out how to pronounce her name.
It's maybe.
Mabry. Tigers Not Daughters. I'm very excited about this one. I think, Sam, you're going to like this one a lot as well. And then we have Bruised by Tanya Botege.
Botejou? We don't know.
Botejou. I will find that out
Hope
before
we're
we do the
saying it
video as
correctly.
well.
Yeah.
This one's more like roller derby girls. Very excited about that as well. So, a lot of super awesome books coming up this summer.
And guys, remember, go to our website
randolphlibrary.org/summer.
and choose the Teen tab. You can watch our videos there. You can listen to our podcast about summer reading there. And you can also register for summer reading and then start logging your minutes. You can read these books or any books here at the library. The library is back open now at full volume starting next week. And we will look forward to seeing you come in, check out books, read them, log in, log the minutes that you've read. There's a great prize that we'll talk more about in coming videos. Pretty cool. You'll be able to hear about them. There's a hint for you. And don't forget to log in, same place, to our book tournament. Book Madness, what is it?
Summer Madness Book Tournament happening all summer long. We are officially in the throes of week 1.
Week 1.
Week
So,
1's going down.
Vote for your favorite books. They'll be up on the website. You can look there. You can come into the library and see which book's winning. It's going to be great. We're in Supreme 16 right now, but each week we're going to weed out more and more books, and we're going to have 2 at the end that we're really excited about, and we may even talk about them in our video or on our podcast. Am I missing anything?
Have a great summer. Hags.
Hags.
That was great.
Hags?
Hags. Have a great summer.
summer.
Let's get put to your books.
Sorry. Can you also put like hags big?
Yes,
in front of all this?
absolutely. It's already there.
Great outro.
Yeah,
Great intro.
Yeah, you'll make it wonderful because you always do.
Yeah.